YouTube says 88.5 of you guys are not subscribed. And before the video, I just want to say, everyone, please subscribe. We're on the road to 200 subs by the end of February. And if we can get this number to say 50%, that would be awesome, guys. On to the video.
She put my name with yellow hearts. Yeah, she did. I said she was a work of art.
Hello, everybody, and today we are doing What If Deku was Sans, Part 2. Okay, we'll start this off right at the start of the first day of school. So, Deku, he's walking up to the school. He's like, oh yeah, it's my time to become a hero. And he eventually, after some struggle, finds Class 1A. And he walks in and Ida and Bakugo are yelling at each other. Bakugo's like, I can do whatever I want. Ida's like, no. Okay, one sec, guys. I'm going to turn the awesome music. Okay, so we'll continue it off. So, Uraraka comes in behind Deku and is like, hi, Deku. And then, Deku's like, hello. And Uraraka's like, thanks for saving me during the exam. That really helped. And Deku's like, yeah. And then Aizawa pops through the doorway like, 8 seconds. That's too long. You need to improve or else you're gone. You're banned. And he says, go get your gym uniforms from inside. And they go outside for the physical exams. And Aizawa's like, Izuku, you got first on the exam. You can go first. And Bakugo screams, no way, useless Deku got first. Get into this class. And Bakugo rushes at Deku, and Aizawa restrains him. And Deku then uses his blue magic, and it holds the ball in place in midair. And Deku rears his hand back, and with one giant bone, he puts the ball on top of and he launches the bone. And he gets infinite as a score, because if you think about it, with his blue magic, he could just make it consistently go instead of just throwing it. So, Deku gets infinite, and Bakugo is flabbergasted. He's like, how he can't even function with the words. He can't comprehend the fact that Deku has a quirk now, and it got to space. And Deku's even surprised himself, like, didn't expect for that to work. And that's when everyone else does theirs. Bakugo with 3 extra meters, because he was even angrier. Yeah. So Deku ends up getting first on the exams because Deku is Sans, and Sans is cool. Okay. You guys gotta support the Bakugo hate, though. Anyway. Mineta is expelled. Screw Mineta. So since this is how it works, so Mineta will not be replaced because it just doesn't work like that. So here's one thing I don't understand in What Ifs, guys. I don't understand why they put Shinzo in 1A when they expel somebody, because Shinzo wasn't even going to make 1C. So I can't understand why he would go to 1A, so kind of weird. Anyway, right. Next period, they got All Might with his hero versus villain training. And All Might's like, look at all you good kids. Well, go put on your awesome hero costumes. And that's when eventually they all come out. And Deku, in honor of Sans, is wearing his trademark jacket, and yeah, he basically looks like this. And he has the scarf, but not the knife wound. I mean, if you guys want to, you can have the knife wound. Anyway, Deku is paired up with Uraraka, and yeah, that happens. So All Might says 3, 2, 1, go, and right as Deku and Uraraka get into the building, Bakugo comes around the corner like, "Got you, nerd!" Then he shoots one of his gauntlet explosions at them, and Deku uses a Gaster Blaster and blocks it. And Bakugo is surprised, like, "What? Now you can defend against my attacks too? Dang it!" And that's when he's about to shoot an explosion at Deku again, and he can't move. He's like, "Why can't I move?" That's when he sees Deku with his eye glowing green. And it's like green means stop. You can't move. It's green in his eyes, but it's blue magic, okay, guys? And that's when he uses some bones and attacks Bakugo, and it cuts Bakugo from all over. And Bakugo's like, "Just end it already, nerd." That's when Deku is like, "Okay," and then he ties him up with the capture tape. All while Uraraka is watching, like, "Good job, Deku." Then they eventually find Ida, and Deku just uses some bones, and with a lot of stuff happening. And he doesn't just freeze him in time immediately, because he wanted to have a good fight. And Deku is using all sort of bone combos. He's using blue and orange ones. That's when eventually Ida gets caught on a blue one, and Ida stops like, "Wait, is this the one that you move in?" That's when he moves his foot, and then he screams like, "Ah, my foot!" That's when Deku shoots some more blue ones at his chest, like, "Blue means don't move." And Ida's like, "Yes, sir." And Deku's like, "Yeah, I guess." And then Ochako jumps up and hugs the rocket like, "Sweet victory." And All Might goes over the announcements and says, "Heroes win!" And that happens. So, yeah, okay. Speed! Okay, so a couple weeks later, All Might announces, well, no, like a week later, Deku and his class are on the field trip to the USJ. And they get out, and after Aizawa explaining some stuff, they meet 13, who explains the USJ, the Unforeseen Simulation Joint. And 13 is explaining the rules when they go into the USJ, and as she's explaining more of the rules, Kirishima points out, as always, "Well, wait, why are there they even have fake villains?" And then Aizawa shoots his eyes towards the water fountain like, "Wait, fake villains?" And that's when they see the portal, and a man looks out of it, and Shigaraki looks up like, "Hello." Then the portal expands, and all the villains start walking out. And then they see this giant bird creature walk out, and with his brain exposed. And Shigaraki then comes out. It's like, and Aizawa then tells everyone, "These are real villains. Stay on guard. 13, guard the kids. I'll deal with this." And then puts on his goggles and then jumps down and starts defeating all the villains, as always. That's when Kirigiri eventually goes up to the students and doesn't allow them to leave. And Deku is like, "Oh," and then Deku uses blue magic and freezes Kirigiri in place. And Kirigiri's like, "Oh no, they'll escape." And then that's when Ida escapes. While Ida is going to get the teachers, Deku uses one giant Gaster Blaster and shoots it at Kirigiri. I'm going to say this kills Kirigiri. Well, if you think about it, guys, the Gaster Blaster, and imagine Kirigiri is like in a ball, I'd say. So, that just evaporates Kirigiri. And Deku's like, oh, that's done. And Shigaraki is stunned, like, the kids killed Kirigiri? One of our Nomu? And Aizawa hears this, like, oh, so the gas guy was one of the Nomus? I'll have to look into that. That's when, eventually, Aizawa gets to Shigaraki, and they start fighting, and he gets his elbow destroyed, basically. And that's when he punches him down, and Aizawa's like, finally, the big boss. That's when Shigaraki's like, I may be the main villain here, but I'm not the big boss. He's the big boss. That's when the Nomu is right next to Aizawa. Then he starts hitting Aizawa. And all the students are shocked, like, we need to help Aizawa. And then all the students start running down to fight. And that's when Deku jumps on a giant Gaster Blaster and goes up to the top of the USJ. And like a meteor shower per se, he has tons of big Gaster Blasters, and they all start shooting at the Nomu. And as the Nomu is about to punch Aizawa again, he gets hit in the back, and he like collapses into the ground. But when the firing stops and the Gaster Blasters disappear, the Nomu gets up without any problem, and then looks at Deku, and Deku is petrified, like, how didn't that work? That's when the Nomu jumps over and hits Deku in the face. And Deku's soul slightly takes a little crack in it, thanks to that. And he hits the ground eventually. And this really hurts him. That's when Bakugo and everyone start trying to hit the Nomu, and they can't do anything. That's when eventually All Might gets there. And Deku's like, All Might, you're here. And All Might sees Deku's skull nearly, well, he sees a giant crack in his skull and a little gap in it, like kind of like Horror-Sans' head. He has the little gap in it, and All Might's like, "Are you okay, young Midoriya?" And then Deku is like, "Why you ask?" And then All Might's like, "Your head," and Deku reaches inside like, "Wait, what?" And then he feels that he's reaching inside his head, and then from fear he just passes out. Always like, who could have done this? That's when he sees the Nomu looking at him menacingly, and that's when they have their little clash. And everyone tries to help Izuku up, and they eventually lead him out. That's when they see a bunch of the heroes arrive, and the heroes, as they're running in, they see Deku, and they're just scared, like, oh no, what's waiting beyond this point? That's when they see All Might defeat the Nomu with his giant punch, and it knocks the Nomu out. And that's when Shigaraki doesn't know what to do, like, the Nomu's defeated and Kirigiri's gone. What am I gonna do? That's when All Might goes over to Shigaraki like, you seem to be the big boss. And Shigaraki jumps at All Might, and All Might, right as he's about to punch him, Shigaraki grasps onto All Might's hand with all 5 fingers, and it starts breaking the skin down. And eventually, All Might can't shake him off, and his hand starts disintegrating, as his arm slowly does too. And that's when All Might's like, I have to end this quickly. And right as it reaches to his elbow, he punches Shigaraki in the gut, and this sends him flying. And eventually, he falls to the ground, unconscious. and fatally wounded. And All Might falls to the ground unconscious because of blood loss. Because his hand, like most of his arm, is missing. So that happens. And eventually the All Might is sent to the hospital, same as Izuku. And Izuku eventually wakes up covered in bandages. And like, what happened? And that's when he looks over to see All Might in his deflated form. Actually, no, he wouldn't. He's not in the way. He'd wake up and be like, where am I? And then immediately jolt back down like, ow! Then he'd pat his head gently and it's like, oh, bandages, okay. And that's when he'd see his mom burst in the room. I was like, are you okay, Zuko? And Deku's like, yeah, I'm fine, Mom. And Inko's like, oh, my poor baby. And Deku's like, Mom. And Deku and be like, don't say that, Ma. And then Inko's like, sorry, Izuku. And that's when Uraraka and the rest of his class would budge in like, are you okay, Izuku? Izuku, are you alright? Then Izuku's like, yeah, I'm feeling better. And then the doctor comes in like, don't overwhelm him, guys. And like, Izuku, you'll be staying in the hospital for about 2 weeks. By that time, your injury should be good, but sadly, your head damage, your skull damage cannot be put back together. And Deku's like, wait, what? And, the doctor's like, yeah, it's kind of just going to be there, just anonymously. And Izuku's like, okay. And then he asks like, how's All Might doing? And then the doctor's like, not well at all. His previous injuries and his arm, he's in critical condition. The number one hero might actually die. But we're doing everything we can. And that's when Miko's like, I hope he's fine. And then 3 weeks later, All Might's still in the hospital. By this time, they've gave him a mechanical hand. So now he can be even stronger smashes with his arms. Anyway, Aizawa on the next day was like, so everyone, All Might will not be will not be present in any of your classes for about 2 months. His previous injuries at the USJ facility are hard to recover from. And Deku's like, it's all my fault. He thinks that to himself. And that happens. And that's where we'll be leaving off, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for 100 subscribers once again. I can't believe in only a couple months we're already at 100. Thanks, guys. Well, bye.